all felt at some point. That strange, hard to pin down feeling of being just fundamentally out of sync with everything. Well, it turns out that feeling isn't just in your head. It's actually deeply rooted in your biology. And the key to recalibrating ourselves, to finding that sync again, lies in understanding two core systems that are running the show inside us. You know the feeling, right? You're exhausted, but you can't sleep. Or maybe you feel anxious and on edge, but you can't figure out why. Nothing is obviously wrong, but you just feel off. If any of that sounds familiar, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to explore exactly why this happens, and more importantly, what we can actually do about it. So let's start with our own internal sense of time.
Okay, first up, we have to talk about time. And I don't mean the time on your phone. I mean the clock that's ticking away inside your body right now. This is our first core system, this incredibly powerful internal 24-hour rhythm that pretty much governs everything we do.
So what happens when your internal clock doesn't match the world outside? Well, it creates this state of, you could call it biological confusion. The absolute best way to think about it is like having a mild but constant case of jet lag. Where your body thinks it's 3 a.m., but it's actually the middle of the afternoon. You just feel sluggish, you can't focus, and you're just generally off kilter. Now, the official name for this internal clock is your circadian rhythm. It's basically a whole series of biological processes that go up and down over a 24-hour cycle. Think of it like the master conductor for your body's orchestra. It's telling everything from your hormones to your body temperature exactly when to rise and when to fall. And this entire amazing system is run by a central headquarters in your brain. That headquarters has a bit of a mouthful of a name. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or just SCN for short. It's this tiny little region in your hypothalamus that acts as your body's central pacemaker. And its main job is to listen for cues from the environment to keep your internal time perfectly synchronized with the outside world's day and night cycle. So what's the most important, the most powerful cue that your SCN listens for? It's simple: light. Bright light during the day basically shouts at your master clock, hey, it's time to be awake and alert. And then dim light or darkness at night sends the signal, okay, time to rest and repair. This one simple input is the main way we stay in sync. So here's the crucial part. What happens when this rhythm gets weak or disrupted? Well, research gives us a really clear answer. In studies done on mice, scientists found that when their internal rhythms were dampened, meaning they were less robust, the difference between day and night was kind of fuzzy, it was directly linked to an increase in anxiety-like behaviors. A weaker rhythm literally meant a more anxious state. Okay, let's move on to our second core system. We've talked about our internal clock. Now let's talk about our internal threat detector. This system is working 24/7, always in the background, constantly asking one fundamental question. Am I safe right now? This incredible process is called neuroception. And the best way to think about it is as your nervous system's automatic safety radar. It's happening totally below the level of your conscious thoughts, constantly scanning your surroundings, your interactions, even your own internal feelings for the tiniest signs of safety or danger. It's the reason you can walk into a room and just get a bad vibe without having any idea why. That's your neuroception at work. And your body responds to what that radar finds in a very specific, tiered way. According to something called polyvagal theory, there's a clear hierarchy. When your neuroception detects safety, you're at the top, in a state of social engagement. You feel calm, connected, open. If it detects danger, it kicks you down a level into fight or flight, getting you ready for action. And if the threat feels totally overwhelming, like a life threat, it drops you to the most primitive response, freeze or shut down, a state where you're just immobilized. So we have these two big systems, one that tracks time and one that tracks threat. So how do they connect? Well, the bridge between them is something we all look for, and it actually functions like a biological nutrient for our well-being, and that is human connection. This is so cool. Just like light is the most powerful cue for our circadian clock, the feeling of a safe connection with another person is the single most powerful cue of safety for our nervous system. This is called co-regulation. When we're with someone who really makes us feel seen and heard and safe, our nervous system literally calms down. Their calm state helps our state become calm. It's a biological signal that says, hey, you can stand down, you're safe here. But, and this is a big but, not all connection sends that signal of safety. It's really important to know the difference between two types.
On one side, you have codependence. This is where you have kind of an enmeshed sense of self, where you're really relying on the other person for your own feelings of worth. On the other side, the healthy goal is interdependence. This is that beautiful balance where you value the emotional bond you share, but you also maintain a solid sense of who you are with your own goals and your own values. So let's bring this all together now. If we're feeling out of sync, it's very likely because our internal clock and our safety system are getting scrambled signals. But the good news, the really good news, is that we can consciously send them better signals. And we have two main channels to do this: light and connection. Let's start with the first and maybe the most fundamental input for your circadian rhythm: light. Seriously, managing your light exposure is one of the most direct and powerful ways to strengthen that internal clock and pull yourself out of that constant low-grade jet lag. So how much does it take? A massive study of over 400,000 people found a kind of magic number. And it's just 1 hour. That's it. Just 1 hour of outdoor light exposure per day. And the impact of that single hour it's just incredible. It was associated with lower odds of depression, less antidepressant usage, greater happiness, and feeling less tired. It was even linked to having fewer symptoms of insomnia. I mean, this isn't just a small tweak. It is a powerful, powerful lever for our mental and physical health.
Now for our second channel, connection. Just like we can manage light for our clock, we can consciously cultivate connection to calm our safety system. This means intentionally building relationships that give our nervous system those crucial cues of safety it's looking for.
So how do we actually do that? This table gives us a fantastic roadmap. It really boils down to 4 key strategies. First, active listening. Not just hearing, but giving your full validating attention. Second, open communication, creating a space that's free of judgment. Third, presence and attunement. This is about truly being with someone, being sensitive to their state. And finally, consistent boundaries, because that's what creates the predictability and trust our nervous system absolutely craves. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? We so often think of well-being as this individual thing, something we have to fix all on our own. But our biology, it tells a totally different story. Our health is deeply, deeply intertwined with other people. Our own healing and our own regulation are catalyzed, they're sped up by safe, empathetic connection. So I'll leave you with this question. By managing our light and by fostering real connection, we are literally speaking directly to our own biology. We're sending powerful signals of safety and rhythm to our deepest, oldest systems. So what's one small cue of safety? Maybe it's a morning walk outside. Maybe it's a moment of truly listening to someone that you can create in your world today.